Most people believe the Mughal Empire fell because of wars, invasions, and weak kings. This sounds simple, but it hides something deeper. Behind the armies and palaces, a silent system was breaking. A system built on money, trust, and control. History often remembers loud endings, clashing swords, burning cities, fallen kings. But history rarely pauses to ask what weakened an empire long before the final blow. What failed quietly while the world was still watching the throne? Empires do not collapse overnight. They fracture slowly in ledgers and agreements. No one reads. When money stops moving as it should, power begins to drift, and once trust breaks, even the strongest empire starts to hollow from within. The Mughal Empire ruled immense wealth, land, and people. Without control over money, even gold becomes fragile, and without stability, authority becomes only a symbol. This story is not about a single battle or ruler. It is about a system most people never see. Financial structure that once held an empire together, and how its silent failure changed history forever. So what if? The Mughal Empire did not collapse on the battlefield, but inside its own financial heart. Hi, I'm Mike. Welcome to the channel, where we uncover the hidden forces shaping history, power, and money. If you love discovering the truths others overlook, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. To understand the end of the Mughal Empire, we must first see how it worked at its peak. In the 16th and 17th centuries, the Mughals ruled one of the richest lands on earth. India produced vast amounts of silver, gold, textiles, and crops. From the outside, the empire looked unstoppable. But strength on the surface can hide weakness. Underneath, the Mughal state did not use banks. Instead, it relied on a complex system of revenue, credit, and trust. Taxes from farmers supported the army and the court. Money flowed upward, then back down through salaries and rewards, as long as trust remained. The system worked. At the center of this system was land revenue. Most Mughal income came from taxing agriculture. Officials estimated harvests and demanded a fixed share, in theory. This was fair and organized. In practice, it depended heavily on honest officials and stable conditions. What happens when a system depends more on trust than rules? What happens when pressure increases? As the empire expanded, costs grew faster than income. The Mughal army became larger and more expensive. The royal court demanded luxury, gifts, and monuments. More money was needed every year without a new source to support it. This imbalance was quiet, but dangerous to manage payments. The Mughals used a rank system called mansabdari. Officers were paid not in cash, but with rights to collect land revenue. These land grants were temporary, not owned. On paper, this kept power under control. In reality, it created long chains of debt and delay. Officers often collected less than promised. Farmers struggled during droughts or wars. Middlemen took their share before money reached the state. Salaries were delayed. Sometimes for years, trust began to weaken, slowly but steadily. When soldiers are unpaid, what do they protect? When officials are desperate, what rules do they follow? Silver played a silent but critical role in this crisis. The Mughal economy depended on silver flowing in from global trade. European traders brought silver in exchange for Indian goods. For decades, this supported stability. But global flows can change without warning. In the late 17th century, silver became harder to obtain. Trade patterns shifted across oceans. European powers began controlling routes and prices. Less silver entered the Mughal economy. Money became tighter. Even as expenses stayed high, with less silver, prices rose. Farmers paid more, but earned less. Officials demanded taxes in hard currency that no longer flowed easily. Local economies slowed. Stress spread from villages to cities, Aurangzeb's long reign intensified these pressures. His military campaigns were costly and endless. The Deccan Wars drained the treasury year after year. More land was assigned to officers, leaving less for direct state income. The system was stretched beyond its limits. Ask yourself this quietly. Can an empire survive when its income system stops breathing? As revenue weakened, the state turned harsher. Tax collection became aggressive. Peasants abandoned land or revolted. Production dropped even further. The financial base cracked. It's under its own weight. Money is not just metal or paper. It is confidence. It is belief that tomorrow will be stable. When that belief breaks, systems collapse fast. The Mughal state was losing that belief. Regional governors noticed the weakness. They controlled local revenue, but sent less to the center. Some kept money for their own armies. Others declared independence in practice. If not in name, the empire fragmented financially before it broke politically. Power does not always fall with noise. Sometimes it fades quietly, account by account. European trading companies watched carefully. They understood credit, banking, and cash flow. They offered loans, contracts, and military support. In return, they demanded influence and privileges. The imbalance grew wider. The Mughal state had no central bank, no unified debt system, no tools to manage long-term financial shocks. It reacted instead of planning. That made every crisis stronger than the last. By the early 18th century, the treasury was empty in spirit. It's not just in numbers. Soldiers changed loyalty. Officials acted for themselves. The emperor became symbolic. Not powerful, the financial core had already failed. Invasions like Nader Shah's attack were devastating, but they were not the root cause. They were symptoms of weakness already present. A healthy system can absorb shocks. A broken one collapses. Empires rise on strong financial systems. They fall when those systems lose balance. The Mughal Empire followed this rule quietly, almost invisibly. The collapse was not sudden. It unfolded over decades. Each small failure built on the last. Missed payments, broken trust. History often focuses on battles and rulers, but money shapes what power can do without stable finance. Armies fail, states weaken, empires fade. This pattern repeats across time. Rome, Spain, the Mughals, different places. Similar endings. The Mughal Empire did not fall because it lacked wealth. It fell because it could not manage that wealth. Its financial system could not adapt to change, and change always comes. That is the silent lesson. So the next time you hear about the fall of an empire, pause. Ask what happened behind the scenes. Look for the ledgers, not just the swords, because that is where collapse often begins. And that's the story, one more piece of the puzzle, connecting history, money, and power. If this gave you a new way to look at the world, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It helps more than you think. And I'll see you in the next video. If you liked this video, I recommend you watch how Roman Empire completely collapsed the dark side of history.